Study Section 8. Stress. Introduction. We have discussed the syllable as a domain for the suprasegmental of English. We have also identified the suprasegmentals as stress, intonation, and rhythm. This study section will discuss stress in detail. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this section, you should be able to define and use correctly the term stress. Use phonetic cues to identify stress syllable in a word. State the characteristics of stress. Explain what fixed and free stress means. Point out cases where stress could be predicted in the English language. Discuss and exemplify stress rules as suggested by Krutedend and Roach. Produce English compound and phrasal stress. Voice stress in sentences. Differentiate stressing of content words from grammatical words. Differentiate the strong and weak forms of English grammatical words. Explaining the concept of stress. When an English word is pronounced, a particular syllable of word is made more prominent than the other syllables in the same word. The syllable that is made more prominent is the stress syllable. Stress has to do with pitch prominence, exertion of more muscular energy, greater degree of articulation, loudness, and often length on a particular syllable of an English word. A stress syllable of an English word will stand out among the other syllables. A monosyllabic word, a word of one syllable, often takes the stress on the only syllable it is made of. Man is an example of a monosyllabic word where the only syllable available, men, is assigned the stress. A disyllabic word is made of two syllables, while a polysyllabic word is made of many syllables. Pencil is an example of a disyllabic word, while eradication, where K takes the premises, is an example of a polysyllabic word. The prominence associated with stress may be achieved in various ways. Some linguists associate this prominence with greater muscular energy and loudness. Other linguists have looked at this prominence as being achieved mainly by pitch. This is often called pitch prominence. It is believed that a stressed syllable must have a different pitch level from all the unstressed syllables in its environment. It is this pitch prominence that will make it stand out from the other unstressed syllables in the word. Phonetic cues of stress. What are the characteristic activities that accompany a stressed syllable? These are called phonetic cues of stress. We have discussed the most important cue, which is pitch prominence. Other cues are duration, intensity, otherwise called loudness, and segmental quality. Duration has to do with the length of a stressed syllable. A stressed syllable has tendency to be longer than unstressed syllable. Intensity is the third cue to stress in the hierarchy. It has to do with loudness. A stressed syllable has a tendency to be louder than an unstressed syllable. It has been found through some researches earlier conducted on phonetic cues to stress that loudness is not as important cue to stress. However, from observation, especially in Nigerian context, one could notice that many Nigerians do not assign stress appropriately, and there is a tendency to use loudness to depict the stressed syllable. Segmental quality. This has to do with what happens to the segment of an unstressed syllable, which most of the time is affected by reduction, elision, or a change to a different sound. There is a tendency to tamper with segments in English on stressed syllables. Vowels have a tendency to get reduced to the vowel or to have syllabic consonants as their peak, e.g. conduct, noun, and con-dot as a verb. The noun form has stress on the first syllable, so the syllable contains the vowel while the second syllable is assigned stress in the verb form. Because the stress is not on the first syllable anymore, the vowel gets reduced to he. Conduct. Tip. The stressed syllable is a favored one, articulated with greater strength. It is longer, louder, and loses none of its segments, sounds. It is very important to point out the fact that English stress is very complex when compared to other stress systems in other languages. This accounts for some of the difficulties encountered by second language learners and users of English language. It is good to note that every word in English has a tendency to be learnt with its peculiar stress pattern. Characteristics of stress. Apart from the phonetic cues to stress, some basic characteristics have been identified with stress assignments in English. Stress is cumulative. Stress is cumulative in the English language. What does this mean? Every English word has at least one stressed syllable. Even monosyllabic grammatic words are assigned stress when they occur in isolation. This means an English word must have a stress assigned to one of its syllables. English stress is also hierarchical in nature. There are 3 levels of stress in English. Primary stress is assigned to the syllable that has the higher or highest pitch prominence in a disyllabic or monosyllabic word. Secondary stress is next in prominence to primary stress. The third in the hierarchy is unstressed, which has the least prominence. Therefore, a syllable assigned primary stress is the most prominent syllable in a word. It is followed by the secondarily stressed syllable, and the unstressed syllable has the least prominence. Secondary stress is important when dealing with long words with several syllables before the primary stress. Words such as education will have a primary stress on K, and a secondary stress on the first syllable A. All other syllables will be unstressed. Hierarchy is a system of organization in which people or things are divided into levels of importance. A prominence hierarchy may occur among multiple stresses. For instance, in polysyllabic or complex words, one syllable among the multiple syllables will be made more prominent than the others, i.e., assigned the primary stress. Another which will be next in the hierarchy of prominence to the one assigned the primary stress, the most prominent pitch in the word, will bear the secondary stress. The next prominent pitch in the word, while other syllables left in the word will have the least prominence, e.g., eradication, has the primary stress on the syllable K, while Ra takes the secondary stress. All the other remaining syllables are unstressed. Before the addition of the suffix ION, the primary stress must have been on Ra in the verb form eradicate. However, whether a syllable is assigned the primary or secondary stress, the vowel that occurs within the syllable as its nucleus retains its strong quality, consequently making the syllable strong. But when the syllable is unstressed, the vowel quality is usually affected and the vowel gets reduced to A or I, or sometimes or get totally elided, removed, as in the word chocolate, clit. Stress is rhythmic. Another characteristic of English stress is that it is rhythmic. In English, stressed and unstressed syllables alternate and stress clashes are usually avoided. Stress contrasts are often enhanced segmentally. How does this happen? Stress syllables are usually lengthened due to vowels lengthening, or while unstressed syllables are weakened by vowels reduction. As mentioned while discussing strong and weak syllables in previous lecture, there is a common characteristic of reducing otherwise strong vowels to the weak sound chua in unstressed position in English. Free versus fixed stress. It is good to note at this junction that English is not the only language that employs stress. Traditionally, word stress systems have been classified along various dimensions, one of which is the distinction between fixed systems and free stress. In a fixed stress system, the location of stress is predictable. What this means is that it is rule governed. A rule can easily predict which syllable of the word in that language is to be stressed. Another classification is free stress. Stress is not predictable by rule when dealing with a language with free stress. In this case, stress assignment is unpredictable, that is, distinctive. Languages that restrict the placement of stress to one particular syllable within each word are said to have fixed or non-phonemic stress. Therefore, languages such as Hungarian, Turkish, Polish, and French are said to have fixed or non-phonemic stress because their stress systems are relatively predictable. Let us take them one after the other. In Hungarian, the first syllable of a word is usually assigned the primary stress. Therefore, a stress rule in Hungarian will state assign stress to the first syllable of every Hungarian word. In Polish, the penultimate syllable, that is, the syllable immediately before the last syllable, takes the stress. Therefore, there should be a stress rule in Polish stating thus: assign stress to the antepenultimate syllable of a Polish word. In Turkish and French, the last syllable is assigned stress. This should also have a simple stress rule stating that the last syllable should be assigned stress. In these languages, stress has a demarcative function because it signals word boundaries. In languages with free stress, however, stress does not have a demarcative function. With these languages, the prominence associated with the stress is assigned on different syllables of different words, depending on the nature of each word. English is one of such languages. Stress in the English language is unpredictable. Therefore, in English, stress acquires a lexical function since it has to be marked on lexical items. Do note, however, that there are some peculiar cases of some disyllabic noun or verb and adjective or verb pairs in English, where the first syllable is assigned the primary stress in the noun or adjective form and the second syllable in the verb form. In these limited instances, English stress becomes predictable. Do not forget that this word form a closed system in English. Let us look at these pairs together. Noun or adjective. Verbs. Export, exports. Conduct, conducts. Perfect, perfect, record, record, frequent, frequent, concert, concert. Though English stress is predictable in the noun or adjective and verb forms in the group, it does not imply that English has a predictable stress pattern. This is because they form a closed set since not so many words are involved. Therefore, there is no basis for such generalization. Hint: English stress is largely unpredictable, arbitrary. English word stress and suggested rules. English stress has been acknowledged to be complex due to the fact that the syllables that are assigned stress in English words cannot be predicted arbitrarily, as is the case with certain languages such as French, where the last syllables of words are often assigned the stress. This means that English stress does not submit easily to stress rules as languages with stress rules do. Some linguists, however, still believe that a set of rules, with exceptions, would do better than viewing stress as a property of individual words, each to be learned with its distinct pattern. We will now look at some of the rules listed by some of these linguists who believe that a complex list of rules will still be better than taking each word as having its peculiar stress rule. Rules as suggested by Crutenden. Crutenden, 1986, notes that languages such as English, which do not use stress delimitatively and use it distinctively only to a very restricted extent, may have their word stress predictable, but only by a set of complex rules. These rules, which may have many exceptions, still prove a better option than not having rules at all. To Crutenden, a general rule with exceptions is still more economical than listing every word with its unique pattern, which will therefore imply listing everything as exception. Crutenden therefore proposes a set of rules for English word stress depending on the class of word, i.e., whether the word is a noun, verb, adjective, etc. He also observes morphological features such as stems, suffixes, etc. Verbs and adjectives. A. Stress on the penultimate syllable when the final syllable has a short vowel in an open syllable or is followed by not more than one consonant, e.g., surrender, polish, astonish. B. Otherwise stress on the final syllable subject to rule 3 below, e.g., maintain, severe, defend. Nouns. A. If the final syllable has a short vowel, disregard it and apply rules under 1 above, e.g., relevance, moment, completion. B. If the final syllable has a long vowel, it is stressed, subject to 3 below, e.g., place, machine, kata. 3. Words of more than 2 syllables with long final vowels should be stressed on the antepenultimate syllable, e.g., anecdote, fahirate, pedigree. However, there are apparently a number of exceptions to these basic rules of stress assignment in English discussed by Crutenden, 1986. Such exceptions include words such as position, window, kangaroo. He also discusses the influence of suffixes on stress assignment in English. This is attributed to the fact that stressing in English often involves counting the syllables backward. He identified 3 types of suffixes, which are suffixes that leave the stress on the stem, e.g., fulfill, fulfillment, usual, usually. Suffixes that take the stress themselves: limit, limitation, China, Chinese. And suffixes that shift the stress on the stem, e.g., economy, economic, apply, application. Rules are suggested by Roach. Now, let us look at the rules proposed by Roach, 1990. He also makes an attempt to establish the rules of word stress in English. With two-syllable words, either the first or second syllable is stressed, not both. If the word is a verb and the second syllable contains a long vowel or diphthong, as it ends in more than a consonant, that second syllable is stressed, e.g., apply, arrive, attract. If the final syllable contains a short vowel and one or no final consonants, the first syllable is stressed, e.g., enter, envy, equal. The final syllable is also unstressed if it contains a, e.g., follow, borrow, window. Roach listed all other verbs as exceptions. Roach further claimed that the rules above can also be applied to adjectives, e.g., lovely, divine, even, correct. As with other rules, there are also exceptions, e.g., honest and perfect. Both end with two consonants and yet they add the first syllable assigned the stress. Nouns, according to Roach, also have their stress assigned to the first syllable when the second syllable contains a short vowel. Otherwise, the second syllable is assigned the stress, e.g., many, estate, balloon. Other two-syllable adjectives are also believed to behave in like manner. Three-syllable words have been observed to be more complicated. If the word is a verb and the last syllable contains a short vowel and ends with not more than one consonant, that syllable will be unstressed. The stress will be assigned to the penultimate syllable, i.e., the preceding syllable, e.g., encounter, determine. However, if the final syllable contains a long vowel or diphthong or ends with more than one consonant, that final syllable will be stressed, e.g., entertain, resurrect. With three-syllable nouns, when the final syllable contains a short vowel or it is unstressed. But if the syllable preceding this final syllable ends with more than one consonant, the middle syllable will be stressed, e.g., potato, disaster. The middle syllable will be stressed. When the final syllable of a three-syllable word contains a short vowel and the middle syllable contains a short vowel and end with not more than one consonant, the final as well as the middle syllable is left unstressed and the first syllable is assigned the primary stress, e.g., quantity, cinema. The same rule also applies to adjectives, e.g., opportune, derelict. What has been observed from the complex rules proposed by Crottenden in 1986 and Roach 1991 is that they could only guide as hints to the complex stress system of English. They are cumbersome and made more complex by their many exceptions, though they possess many exceptions. English compound and phrasal stress. Compound words are two words that are used as one word. More technically, a compound is a word composed of more than one free morpheme. It functions as noun, that is, giving a name to a person, an object, a place, etc. Examples of compound nouns are headmaster, grandfather, blackboard, blackbird. Phrase, however, refers to a group of words. Note that a phrase will function as words, not a word like a compound. However, stress pattern may distinguish a compound word from a noun phrase consisting of the same component words. We can change the meaning of the words that combine to form compound words that give names to people, objects, and places by changing the place of the stress. For example, blackbird, with the primary stress on the first word black and the secondary stress on the second word bird, is the name of a particular kind of bird. But blackbird, with the primary stress on the second word bird and the second stress on the first word black, means any bird that is black in color. This means that when such words give names to people, objects, places as nouns, you should put the major stress on the first word, but when they have other meanings, you should stress the second words. Let us look at the following words and their meaning. As nouns, naming people, places, and objects, compound, blackbird, the name of a particular bird, grandfather, your parents' father, light ship, a ship made like a lighthouse. As a group of words with other meaning phrases, blackbird, a bird that is black, grandfather, a father that is grand, light ship, a ship that is light. We should note, however, that there are exceptions to these rules. There are some compound words with the primary stress on the second free morpheme or element rather than the first. Examples of such words are downstairs, mice, pie, full, grown. Hints on English stress assignments. There are no fast rules regarding the syllable to be stressed in an English word. A learner of English has to learn the stress pattern alongside the vocabulary. Some hints, however, may assist. These are 1. Prefixes and suffixes are not usually stressed, e.g. IAN, ED, S, AL, IC, LES, less, in, pre, etc. 2. Words that end with IAL, IAN, IC, ION often takes their stress marks on the penultimate syllable, i.e., the syllable preceding the last syllable, e.g., colonial, civilian, economic, and education. 3. Words ending with a suffix, ity, takes their stress on the antepenultimate syllable, e.g., inferiority, unity, captivity. Sentence stress. Thus, far in this study section, we examine stress, its characteristics, as well as its system. Our concern was primarily with word stress. In this section, we'll be laying emphasis on sentence stress. Stress in the English language displays some characteristics when you are no longer dealing with isolated words, but word groups, that is, words in company. We have discussed word stress and now know that one cannot predict where stress will be on an English word with a simple single rule. However, each word has a stress pattern that remains valid. You should note also that when such words occur in sentences, that is, when they occur as part of a sentence, the stress assigned to the words become gradable. You should still remember that one of the characteristics of English stress is that it is hierarchical. Therefore, in a word group or sentence, some one-syllable words that are usually stressed when they occur in isolation become unstressed, while others have the primary stress they take in isolation converted to tertiary stress with just one word of the word group taking the strongest stress. All lexical items of the open classes, such as nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, have an inherent stress pattern, while those of the closed classes, such as pronouns, conjunctions, determinants, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs, are often unstressed. Let's look at this sentence together. Mary is a very beautiful girl. Mary is a very beautiful lady. In the sentence Mary, beautiful, and lady will be assigned stress, while is and a will be left unstressed. In addition to this, the stress to be assigned to the three content words will be graded such that lady, the last stressed syllable in the group, will be assigned the nuclear stress, which is the most prominent stress, while Mary and beautiful will be assigned tertiary stress, a prominence that is not as outstanding as that of lady. This one-syllable closed class words of English refer to a as grammatical words, therefore, have more than one pronunciation, one strong and the other weak. The following are the grammatical words of English in their strong and weak instances of pronunciation and the environment in which each variant occurs. Tip: how stress behaves in a single word is different from how it behaves in a group of words. In a group, stress is reassigned. Stress may be deleted from some syllables which are originally stressed and transferred to another. Grammatical words are often unstressed. The strong and weak forms of standard English grammatical words. Words, stressed strong forms, unstressed weak forms, context of weak variants. Determinants. A. Use only before a consonant sound. A, all weak context. And before vowels. N, every weak context except after T or D. D, before consonant, before vowels. Some, all weak contexts. Conjunctions, and, that, but, or, ing, after labials, after velas, other weak contexts. That, all weak contexts. But, all weak contexts. Or, all weak contexts. Preposition, to, before consonants, before vowels. For, before consonants, before vowels. From, all weak contexts. Of, before consonants, voiceless. All other weak contexts. By, all weak contexts. At, all weak contexts. Pronouns, I, all weak contexts. Me, all weak contexts. My, all weak contexts. You, before vowels, before consonants. E, all weak contexts except at the beginning of a word group where I is used. His, all weak contexts except at the beginning of a word group where ish is used. Her, all weak contexts except at the beginning of a word group where ish is used. Him, all weak contexts. Auxiliary verbs. Shall, all weak contexts. Should, all weak contexts. Would, after I, he, she, we, you, they, every other weak context. Will, after vowels and I. After I, he, she, we, you, they, after consonant except. Must, all weak context. Ha, before consonant, before vowels. where, all weak context, was, all weak context, is, after, p, t, k, f, theta, after vowels and voice consonants except z, d, use after s, z, sh, do, before vowels, before consonants, does, all weak context, am, after I, all other weak context, has, after s, z, ish, after p, t, k, f, theta, all other weak context except at the beginning of a group word where s is used, have, after I, we, you, they, all other contexts except at the beginning of a word where have is used, be, all weak context, had, after I, he, she, we, they, you, every other context except at the beginning of a group word where is used, can, all weak context, circumstances warranting use of strong forms. Circumstances warranting use of strong forms. It should be noted that though the weak forms are used when these words occur in a group, the strong forms are used in the following circumstances. When that word is emphasized in the utterance, e.g., Mary gave it to her, not him. Whenever the grammatical words occur as the last word in the group, e.g., John will, him, is, her, us, are exceptions to this exception because they weaken in word final positions. Except when used contrastively, the words illustrated above are usually on stress where they occur in sentences. However, when they constitute the focus of information, they get stress. E.g., I put this dress on the bed, not under the bed. Jide loves those shoes, not this. It should be noted here, however, that contrastive stress as use of stress for focusing on units of special information in sentences does not deal with only grammatical words. Content words may also receive stress contrastively, as in the sentence, Kate borrowed my car, implying that Kate, not Mary or any other person, borrowed the car. If the contrastive stress shifts to borrowed, as in Kate borrowed my car, the implication will be that Kate did not steal the car. Study section summary. In this study section, we have been able to discuss what fixed and free stress means by differentiating fixed stress as a stress system with predictable stress and free stress as stress system with unpredictable stress. Languages with fixed stress have a simple stress rule among their phonological rules to guide the speakers, while those with free stress have very complex rules with many exceptions. We have also learned that English is a free stress system. We have identified some phonetic clues to stress, such as pitch prominence, duration, intensity, and segmental quality. We discussed basic characteristics of English stress, such as English stress being cumulative, hierarchical, and rhythmical. Compound and phrasal stress have been discussed and differentiated, while hints have been given on instances where stress could be predicted in the English language. We also discussed sentence stress, differentiating it from word stress, pointing out the hierarchical nature of English stress, which makes it important to reassign stress when words occur together in word group. We learned how to differentiate stressing of content words from grammatical words. We also address the strong and weak form of English grammatical words and the various contexts for the variants of the weak forms. End of study section 8. Thanks for listening.